Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this evening's performance at the Millennium stage. Tonight we present Vocal Arts DC and their Art Song Discovery series, featuring the winners of the 2014 Vocal Arts DC Art Song Discovery Competition. Here to introduce the performance tonight is Elizabeth Daniels of Vocal Arts DC. Please welcome her to the stage.
Good evening. On behalf of Vocal Arts DC, I want to welcome you to the Millennium stage to a recital of Art Song. About 500 feet above your head in the Terrace Theater, the Vocal Arts Society presents 6 concerts of art song every single year using some of the world's most renowned singers. Tonight we have 2 young ladies who are attempting to join those ranks, and when you hear them, I think that you will think they will make it. Soprano Colleen Daly and mezzo-soprano Julia Dawson, accompanied by 2 fabulous pianists, Joy Schreier and the 19-year-old Andrew Shue. So, exactly what is an art song? I can tell you best by telling you what it is not. It is not an opera. There are no costumes, there's no scenery, there's no orchestra. There's one singer and one accompanying instrument. And this, to me, is where the magic begins. Every 3 or 4 minutes, they have to tell you a different story. The only tools they have are the way they use their voices and the piano to tell you what the poet was feeling when he wrote the text, what the composer was feeling when he wrote the music. It's not enough to just have a gorgeous voice, although we do, 2 of them tonight. However, you have to say something. You have to project the text. On to our first set of art songs. Ladies, what would you think if you received a wedding anniversary card, all hearts and flowers, with a text that read, "In silence I will complain about my bitter fate. You are cruel, you make me suffer, but don't tell me not to love you." An interesting relationship, Mr. Rossini and his wife. And he set this text over 50 times. I would say she probably got the message. As you would see, the 2 text settings that the singer is going to sing are so amazingly different. And I think this is a testament to the artistry of our mezzo-soprano. Now, lest you think that the Italians have a monopoly on the misery of love, the very first song you will hear is actually an Italian translation of a poem written by the great German poet Goethe. It seems to me that the message is universal. Love can be difficult. Sometimes it brings as much pain as pleasure. Fatso had one too many, didn't she? Maybe Mr. Rossini had to have one too many before he could say those things to his wife. I don't know. Jules Massenet, our next composer, was, if nothing else, an opportunist. He wrote to please his public. He composed music that was pretty easy to listen to. One critic wrote, he had a gift for melody of a suave, voluptuous, and eminently singable kind, and the intelligence and dramatic sense to make the most of it. Now, what saved him from being a little ordinary was that his music contained what seemed to be a discreet and semi-religious eroticism. He was criticized by the church fathers because he seemed to have a fascination with damaged women. Think of his opera Manon. But he loved women professionally, and he courted the current prima donna of the day because he realized that she was his bread and butter. His ever-tolerant and prudent wife was quoted as saying, "Darling, I'd rather you send them operas than pearl necklaces." It's with great pleasure that we present 3 of his gems to you. The theme is, of course, love, new love, bitter love, and lost loved. Now, the sound needed to sing Massenet is not a simple one. It must be a voice that is warm, sensual, but capable of innocence and surprise. I think you will see that the voice of Colleen Daly fits that description perfectly.
Pour l'exalter
In 1901, the great German composer Arnold Schoenberg found himself in Berlin without any money. He was rather desperate. So he took a job as the director of the musical performances in a cabaret in Berlin, where serious musical artists presented their compositions in less formal ways for a rougher and perhaps more bawdy audience than you would normally find in a concert hall. Think of perhaps busboys and poets down on U Street, that kind of thing. So these are meant to be popular songs loaded with personality. I've got quotes around that word, as you will see. But the fact that you seldom hear them sung by popular singers is simply because they are really difficult. They're difficult to play, they're difficult to sing, and they require a voice trained in the classical style. The poetry. Of course, one can always read more into a poem than is actually there, and Miss Manners would never suggest that you do that. But when you hear these rather risque lyrics, just think of a more classical 1901 version of the 1896 rag, "A Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight."
Freunden gehört zu den üppigen Frauen, sinnig duftet niemand das ganze Jahr. Beschäftigt das für ihre Katze zu krauen, mein Gott, ihr behaart das samtweiche Haar. Und komm ich am Abend die Freundin besuchen, so liegt die Mieze im Schoße bei ihr und nascht mit ihr von dem Honigkuchen und schaut, wenn ich leise ihr Haar berühre. Und will ich mal tätig tun mit dem Schatze und dass sie mir auch einmal Eitschi macht, dann stülp ich die Katze auf meine Glatze, dann streichelt die Freundin die Katze und lacht. Fräulein Giegelette lud mich ein zum Tee. Ihre Toilette war gestimmt auf Schnee. Ganz wie Pierrette war sie angetan. Selbst ein Mönch, ich wette, sie Giegelette war gefällig an. War ein rotes Zimmer, drin sie mich empfing, gelbe Kerzenschimmer in dem Raume hing. Und sie war wie immer ein Leben und Esprit, nie vergess ich nimmer mein Blut für das Zimmer, Blut in weißer See. Und im Trab mit Fähren führen wir zur Zeit in das Land spazieren, das heißt Eisigkeit. Dass wir nicht verlieren Zügel, Ziel und Lauf, was bei dem Kutschieren mit dem heißen Fähren
And now for a huge change of pace. Has any child in the United States grown up without this book? How many of you have read it to your children or had it read to you or read it to your grandchildren? Right, most hands going up in the audience. Goodnight Moon. This particular copy has been spilled on, chewed on, and subjected to unmentionable insults, and yet it endures. The green room, the mittens, the kittens, the bowl full of mush, and the little old lady whispering, hush, right? Our beautiful soprano Colleen Daly is already reading this to her 11-month-old son, Christian, I hear every single night. So thank you very much for poet, author Margaret Wise Brown for raising all of us, and thank you, Eric Whitaker, for setting this wonderful book to music. The very first song, A Tragic Story, we thought you'd give you a delicious little taste of William Thackeray's delightful childish insanity before we tuck you into your little bed.
There lived a sage in days of yore, and he a handsome pigtail wore, but wondered much and sorrowed more, because it hung behind him. He mused upon this curious case, and swore he'd change the pigtail's place, and have it hanging at his face, not dangling there behind him. Say he, the mystery I found, I'll turn me round, it turned him round, but still it hung behind him. Then round and round and out and in, all day the puzzled sage did spin. In vain it mattered not a pin, the pigtail hung behind him. And right and left and round about, then up and down and in and out. He turned, but still the pigtail stout hung steadily behind him. And though his efforts never slack, and though he twist and twirl and tack, alas, still faithful to his back, the pigtail hangs. Telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little birds sitting on chairs, and 2 little kittens, and a pair of mittens, and a little toy house, and a young mouse, and a cool noises everywhere.
Isn't that gorgeous? Just gorgeous. His gift for combining words is fantastic. Even when you do not know what he is saying, you know that he is saying it well. This is an admirer's assessment of the poetry of Wallace Stevens. In the winter of 1922, Mr. Stevens made a business trip to the Florida Keys for the very first time. He was an insurance lawyer. By day, he saw clients. At night, he wrote poetry, making these Florida excursions for 23 years, fascinated by everything that is so exotic about that part of the United States: the color, the light, the plants, the animals, and the extraordinary passions of the people that inhabit those little islands. The speaker goes on. Sheer beauty of sound, phrase, rhythm, packed with prismatically colored ideas by a mind at once wise and whimsical, delighting in rare and exquisite aspects of life. How lucky for us that the fantastically gifted 25-year-old composer David Herzberg was intrigued enough by this poem to set it to music. I think you will see when you hear this why so many compositional prizes and honors have been bestowed upon this young man. He has done what few young composers can do. He has built his craft upon the people that came before him, upon the great masters, but his compositions have a voice that is totally his own. You know, art song is all about the marriage of words and music. And David Herzberg seems to be a master of this union.
A few things friends convolvulus and choral, buzzards and live mice. a few things for themselves. To the dreadful sundry of this world, the Cuban Polodovsky, the loitering women, the village undertaker, killing time between corpses, fishing for crayfish. Virgin of boorish births. Swiftly in the night, in the porches of Key West, behind the after the guitar is asleep, the Savior see as the wind. You come to when you might see
before we present our final selections, I simply want to thank you for coming this evening, and I hope that we have been able to pique your interest about art song and that you will want to hear more. If you would like a brochure from our up-and-coming season, Vocal Arts DC, please come up to me and I will be sure that you have one. It is our 25th anniversary season, and it is going to be spectacular. The current issue of Classical Singer magazine addresses one of the most stress-filled aspects of a young singer's life, the art of auditioning. One usually has to pay a fee to audition, sometimes hefty. You are given 5 to 10 minutes to sing. You prepare 5 things. You get to sing all, some, a little bit of them. You're lucky if somebody is listening to you and not having their head buried in a computer or their cell phone to their ear. Yes, these things do happen. You may be gushed over. You may be insulted. You may be propositioned. You may be ignored. The auditioners can do anything they please. You are at their mercy. Now, the lyricists and the composers of these next 2 songs seem to have a wonderful empathy with a singer's struggle to train, audition, and perform. As you will see, it can be really tough.
When you come home to me, I'll wear a sweeter smile and hope that for a while you'll stay. When you come home to me, your hand will touch my face and banish any trace of grace. Soon our love will rise anew, even greater than the joy I felt just missing you. And once again I'll be so proud to call you mine. When finally you come home to
Thank you. That will be all.
I'm climbing uphill, Daddy, climbing uphill. I'm up every morning at 6 and standing in line with 200 girls who are younger and thinner than me, who have already been to the gym. I'm waiting 5 hours in line and watching the girls just coming and going in dresses that look just like this, till my number is finally called. When I walk in the room, there's a table of men, always men, usually gay, who've been sitting like I have and listening all day to 200 girls singing as high as they can. I am a good person. I'm an attractive person. I am a talented person. Grant me grace. When you come home, I should have told them I was sick last week. They're gonna think this is the way I sing. Why is the pianist playing so loud? Should I sing louder? I'll sing louder. Maybe I should stop and start over. I'm gonna stop and start over. Why is the director staring at his crotch? Why is that man staring at my resume? Don't stare at my resume. I made up half of my resume. Stop looking at that. Look at me. No, not at my shoes. I hate these stupid shoes. Why did I pick these shoes? Why did I pick this song? Why did I pick this career? Why does this pianist hate me? If I don't get the call back, I can go with Mom to Crate and Barrel to buy a couch. Not that I want to spend a day with Mom, but Jamie needs his space to write. Since I'm obviously such a horrible, annoying distraction to him, what's he gonna be like when we have kids? Then once again, why am I working so hard? These are the people who cast Charlotte Church in an opera. Holy crap, I suck, I suck, I suck. When finally you come home to...
All right, thank you very much. Now listen, Miss Daly, we really don't mean to be discouraging, but we really think that you need to get a new voice teacher. Yep.
I just found another new voice teacher, and now I'm expecting great things. I'm finding a place, a cover, a space, a spot in my forehead that rings. I just found another new voice teacher who thinks I have nothing to fear, who believes in his power for 200 an hour. It's certain I'll have a career. The master of technical problems, a therapist, preacher, my friend, who makes me feel this time it's different, that my debut is just round the bend. I just found another voice teacher, a genius who knows how to speak in metaphors that brilliantly stitch together a perfect technique. You're a plane, you're a train, you're a light bulb in Spain that's suspended in a limitless sky. Your nose is a hose through which all the sound flows, like taffy on the 4th of July. In your throat there's a yearn, your soft palate's a clam, and your tone flies up like a balloon. You have to pretend your IQ is 10, and your tone is as round as the moon.